Here's Patrick Johnston of the Province and Postmedia, who has been covering. Well, you've been everywhere here since we last spoke to you, since you last sat in for me, actually. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
How are you?
I'm not bad. I was going to say I don't have a simply spiked hat. You guys have kidded me out.
We'll get you one. We can get you one. No worries on that. Okay, well, we got to start with the big news. And I saw you were there on Thursday for the unveiling of Thomas Müller.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Was it Wednesday?
Oh, Thursday.
Thursday. I can't even remember anymore. Blake did a great job, everyone.
Thank you.
I was going to say, first reviews on Blake as the host.
Marvelous. Just fantastic. Okay. Jacket looked great. Hair looked good from the front. That's all that matters.
Going for a haircut today. I noticed that too. Profile.
Honestly, Patrick, Thomas Müller looks like he wants to play ball here.
Yeah, he does.
When I read that line last week in the Athletic story about he was a little nervous about the idea of being a marketing tool to the German population in Cincinnati, I thought to myself, oh boy, what's going to happen here? He seemingly has dove right in to this. He understands the assignment here, that it's more than just performing on the football pitch, but also bringing together constituencies to BC Place. And we saw that with a sellout last night.
I mean, I think he perhaps even invented the assignment. He has 15 million followers on Instagram. And as was said to me by multiple people, is the third most, and I mentioned this in the story, third most followed soccer player on Chinese social media. The guy is a content machine. So when Axel Schuster, and I first talked to him about this, when they made the deal official a couple weeks ago, and I talked to him on the phone, I now understand what he meant when he was explaining the process, which was that initially, and I think everyone's relayed this story, but initially that the first real conversation was this 45-minute call with him and Jesper Sorensen and Thomas on a video call where they went over how they wanted to play and what he would bring to them as a player, and that Axel's point basically was the entire conversation was about football. It was not about anything else. And I did not understand what he meant until we got to the last few days, when you realize that and I wrote this, that they knew, they wanted to make it clear to him that they wanted the player and that the commercial aspects were entirely secondary. But the commercial aspects here are massive, because this is a guy that gets your team being talked about in Germany and in China. And so, and there's a reason why, because this is a guy, he's an outgoing personality. Blake, we saw him on stage. I mean, that is exactly what he is. Mm-hmm. Whether that's a persona or not, he seems perfectly happy to play it. And he's been doing this for a long time. And he's got the social media presence. He's got the content. He's got his own content team. They have been producing a video every single day that he has been since he arrived last Wednesday, and it is a ongoing thing. We've seen the impact on the Whitecaps already. Sold out on Sunday night. They literally sold out of Müller jerseys, and they're having to produce more. They're scrambling to get more supplied. The whole story is absolutely remarkable.
The other interesting wrinkle here is, of course, the Apple deal was really around Lionel Messi. That's what made that thing fly originally. But now with Sun signing in LAFC and this one here, there's talk of Korean broadcasts for LAFC. There's talk of German broadcasts now for Whitecaps games.
They were in the national standalone window last night, right?
Not officially a Sunday Night Soccer branded game for some reason, but it's going to be very interesting to see how this floats not only the Whitecaps but possibly MLS as well here, Patrick.
It really is the sort of the concept forever has been, maybe we can create this U.S.-based soccer brand, and they'd invent all these nonsense summertime tour matches that were preseason friendlies for Bayern versus Manchester United, blah, blah, blah. And none of the, nobody was ever going to take that seriously. In a sense, maybe this is exactly what it actually always could have been, which is it's not a retirement league, but it's a league that has enough interest with smartly placed players and smartly selected markets. Now, somebody made this really interesting point to me about if you think carefully about what the Whitecaps are saying and what they recognize about themselves. And I, Axel said this in an interview, I think, with Bild a couple weeks ago, when he was trying to frame to the German market who the Whitecaps are. And he made the comparison with Freiburg. And Freiburg are a sort of middling town in southern Germany, a lot of tech. The club that plays there had, until recent years, been sort of it was around, it was in Bundesliga, but they are a top 5 club now, and they have punched above their weight. They've been really smart in how they spend their money and what they do with their money. And the comparison, I mentioned to someone, and they were like, I can see what he's saying there, because if this goes well, and I mean, obviously we're one game in, but if this goes well and Müller has an impact, a late career impact, finds a nice groove here, I mean, this is a place that people do want to live if you're a European soccer player. Could this be the beginning of a trend of players recognizing there's a work-life balance that they can pull off here? And exactly, I mean, become this, again, you're trying to avoid the retirement league thing, but you're finding a place for guys to keep playing later in their career, and they can enjoy it, and the team's going to benefit, and the fans will benefit, and all these things, and you start becoming a bit of a second, it becomes a bit of a global brand, not a Premier League or a Serie A or Bundesliga or La Liga, but like something that's in that mix. And I found myself thinking back to the Paul Barber top 25 club comment 15 years ago. I mentioned this. Bobby Leonarduzzi was at the announcement, and I mentioned that to him, and he laughed. He said, I'm glad someone still remembers that. And the point, I think, going back, wasn't that they truly thought they would be a top 25 club in the world, but that the mentality had to be like that, because if you think in those terms, you will draw attention, and that means you are taking it all very seriously, and people will take you seriously if you present yourself in such terms.
And it's not lifelong, but you can get it to a point where it regenerates itself. Like, again, if this goes well, it sort of feathers the nest for future successes and future acquisitions, I think.
Was it the keeper you were talking about?
Manuel Neuer, yeah.
We're going to talk some Canucks here with PJ in a second, but first, and mention this in the opening block, I also thought it was important how yesterday was handled in stadium. Like, if you're going to be a serious club, as big as this signing was, like, the game had to have some importance as well. It couldn't have just been welcome Thomas Müller. And so when the Whitecaps walked out onto the pitch and there was no sort of like solo ISO shot on Müller taking his first steps onto BC Place turf, I was like, okay, what's going on here? And then sure enough, announced the starting 11, and then, hey, welcome Thomas Müller. I thought the crowd was fantastic. I thought it showed its sophistication as a soccer market yesterday, that we understood that he wasn't going to start, and then when you saw him warming up and when you realized he was walking to the scorer, to the third official to be introduced, and the rise that the crowd recognized the moment was upon us. Honestly, it's too bad about the offside, because it's too bad about the late goal, because we were almost close to perfect there by way of debuts.
I want to watch that. I have this long-standing argument I have with traditionalists that I think the offside rule should be changed. It should just be about your feet. As long as your feet are on side, who cares?
The lean is weird.
No,
I agree.
I've always thought the lean is weird anyway. But you're right. It would have been the absolute storybook. But I think even in that moment, I mean, we saw what his impact was from a playing standpoint, was that he really is the Raumdeuter. He finds the space, and he's just perfect at it. Like, he executes so well. And, obviously, I mean, people are all over Rio. Listen, the ball comes, going to try to score. Rios' job is to try to score. They will start finding where the holes are, where the guys want to go, what are tendencies, what should I do in this spot, what is Thomas going to do, what are my teammates going to do. There's a lot there to grow, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And you're right. Like, the fans, the whole presentation, the whole thing has been excellent. I mean, that press conference on Wednesday wasn't just because Blake did such a good job hosting. It was a really impressive event. And the turnout, I mean, you turn around, look at all the cameras. You want to know when a press conference is a real thing or just a bunch of people from the actual organization filling the seats. You know, obviously there were a lot of sponsored, you know, people from TELUS and sponsors and so on in those seats, but there was a ton of journalists, and it wasn't just from here. It was obviously from Germany. It's been a really strong week for the Whitecaps in terms of all the presentation and connecting with everything. And yeah, now it's week 2, right? Like the task this is now the task is how do they carry this forward?
Well, yeah, and now his task is you've got to be a good player because there's been a lot of hype, and I'm with you. Even their social channels, I think they've hit it out of the park here in terms of shepherding this. Let's face it, a seminal week, right, in club history.
Yeah, and they planned it well. I think it's just worth noting that, like, everything, they've been well planned. You know, no hint of sort of last minute scrambles or anything like that. That there's been a calculated effort here. They've empowered their teams to make, or social media team to make an impact. Obviously, Müller on his own makes a huge impact, but the whole thing has been good.
He needs to start next game though, doesn't he?
Yes, of course he does.
Yeah,
of course he does.
Yeah.
And that part was good too. That there was sort of leaked out late last week, I think on Friday in an interview. He's going to play 30, so everybody had this expectation of what you're paying for.
Yeah.
And then we'll see what next week looks like.
It was important too, right?
Yeah.
Because like those who don't understand, like I was sitting with T-Mart yesterday, and he was there for the same reason I was, right? Hey, this is a massive soccer event in our city. And Trevor looked at me and he said, when do you think he comes in? 65th minute, 60th minute? I went, yeah, somewhere shortly after halftime where, he can take some of the limelight. Okay, on to the Vancouver Canucks. As we sit here, it's August 18th, Patrick.
Yep.
Do you have any faith, any confidence that second line center that would be more expensive not to get is coming prior to training camp?
I think I'm still where I was at with I can't remember, I was with Quads last week or was it with JPAT, but I think we're gonna, if there's a player, I think it's just that showdown now. They're just like, listen, we've got how much we want to pay, and this is what we're going to pay, and it's up to you to accept that. I mean, this is.
And you're talking free agent or trade? It could be either of those three.
Yeah, I mean, whatever it is, like that has been a Patrick Allvin trait. That especially when we get to this, like they don't, obviously they need the guy, but they're also careful about overspending and careful about going past their red line. So, that's my best guess. I don't. There's not a lot of noise to be read out there, but that's my just sort of my gut on it at this point. Is that there's a guy they want.
But that's free agent stuff, right?
Yeah, that's certainly free agent stuff.
The waiting out game is free
part.
Agent stuff. Yeah,
the trade part. I that's a tougher one to read. I mean, remember when everyone said, "Oh, there'll be a bunch of dominoes," and I was always skeptical of the dominoes idea.
No dominoes.
I don't think there's. Anyway, I have no doubt there's a guy that they're still looking at, and whether that's signing the guy, that's your showdown, or whether it's a trade, I don't know what the holdup there would be. But that's
if you're Verbeek or Bill Guerin. When do you get nervous about an RFA, or do you just say these guys are not great enough that I get nervous before December 1st?
Well, yeah, I think that's your deadline. I mean, it's so rare to have these kind of moments now. I mean, this kinds of things used to happen all the time, right? Like,
and they generally get signed in training camp. Like as much as it gets late.
I mean, Brock Besser, I guess, or like Petey and Quinn Hughes, or those are examples here. But they're different. Like those guys were always coming back. It was just figuring it out.
Yeah, there were not rumors around those guys. Like there are rumors around these current guys.
Yeah, like was Marco Rossi really going to go back? I mean, maybe he'll go back to Minnesota, but like, pretty sure the intention is for him to be elsewhere, and they're just trying to find the right deal for that. So
yeah.
It's we're just in that window. Things are going to happen. There's no rush now, right? Because the variables in front of us are so obvious. It's like these teams were interested in these guys for these reasons, and it'll shake itself out before the season starts, I think.
Hey, let me let me throw something at you that might be a little too galaxy brain for a Monday in August, but you've got pretty good brains, so I'm sure you can.
This is a good time to float the crazy stuff because maybe
go.
people will miss it if
Here we go.
They would otherwise jump on you.
Here's the crazy stuff because from the moment Jim Rutherford made his wants to play with his brothers one day comment about Quinn, we got fixated on, is there any way you could unite the brothers here in Vancouver, which of course most difficult with two of them already playing for New Jersey. In fact, I think that week, Blake, we asked do you sell the farm, do whatever you have to do to bring Jack Hughes to Vancouver. New Jersey General Manager Tom Fitzgerald said on free agency day, if I'm not mistaken, July 1st, Canada Day, getting Luke Hughes signed was his top off-season priority. It has been awfully quiet around restricted free agent Luke Hughes with the New Jersey Devils. Are we going about this the wrong way? Would you make an overpay trade for Luke Hughes just to have two of the three of them here and then hope you can get the Jack domino to fall?
Who's under a long-term contract right now.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you never say never, but if you're the New Jersey Devils, I just have the hardest time imagining they're willingly trading Luke Hughes. Right? Like, it's hard. And it's
they are trying to win though this year, and maybe there's an NHL veteran like a Marcus, like who gets you further ahead in your
or Quinn Hughes.
They also
they're not getting Quinn this year.
No, I'm saying Luke for Quinn.
Well,
put him over there. That's galaxy brain, man. How about that? It's possible.
Offer sheet doesn't work either there because they have room. So,
and I mean, this is the thing. I remember when the offer sheet idea first came up with. I'm just like, you have to find a team that has no cap space. The cap's going up, so almost nobody's in trouble, and you have to find a willing participant and be able to make an offer that the other team's just going to say no to. And
no, but the point is that Luke is more disposable to the Devils.
No, I understand. No, I understand why you're arguing. Right? I understand the case. I absolutely understand. Like, sure, yeah. You love a defenseman like that. I'm just not sure the Canucks have really what it takes to pry that from a team that's not going to want to trade him anyway. Sorry, Matt. Just pouring cold water on it. Never say never, but I'm going to pour cold water.
Which is funny because they actually have the assets to make that trade, I think.
Yeah.
Like Luke Hughes is a nice defenseman.
I'm not sure they have the assets for a Jack Hughes trade outside of something, completely crazy. But I do think you've got assets.
But the Devils don't want to give up that little Joker's card that they've got.
That's it. That's it.
Like, it's no guarantee that he's
to
a
overpay.
Devil, but
you're going to have to.
Yeah.
To get
well, I guess I say it in the sense of if you're trading for Luke Hughes, what are you giving up, and are you actually winning that trade? Like, if it's to keep Quinn happy, great, but I'm not sure. I'm still not convinced. You got to get Jack, and I just don't. That's just not going to happen. And even then, is that enough? I don't know. It sounds weird to say. Hey, we got your brother. Is that enough for you to stay? I think it goes bigger than just finding a sibling. I guess it's what's the overall package of this team. What's the direction of this team? Can I win a Stanley Cup here?
There has at least been fan base criticism of Jack Hughes' performance in crunch time and his availability in crunch time with injury. So, I mean, at least from the fan side, it's not like it's 100% sunshine and rainbows for Jack. He's reached that point in his career now where people want him to carry mail, and he hasn't yet carried mail. So, but I don't know if that extends to management, of course.
Not an uncommon criticism of players of this generation, I suppose.
Right. Young players. Time to carry mail even before you're ready to carry mail. Jack being 24 years of age. So,
all right. Thank you for this. And we might catch up next week and maybe a couple weeks down the road.
See.
Yeah.
We'll
see. But it's good to see you.
See you when we see you.
It's great seeing you guys.
The Galaxy Brain.
Absolutely.
Patrick Johnston.
Take care.